Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at a bunch of these things. We're going to be asking ourselves, can we get away with using cycling gloves? Or do we need to have sim racing specialist gloves? Do they really make a difference? Let's find out. So what gloves will we be looking at today? Well, we have a bunch of cycling oriented gloves, like the GripGrab ProGels, the Endura Strike 2s, the Gore Windstoppers, the Alpinestars F-Lites, and the Alpinestars Dune. We have mechanic oriented gloves, the Sparco Meca Freeze. We have karting specific gloves, the OMP KS4s. And finally, we have the sim racing gloves, the Feel SR2s. So these gloves have been partially picked by the fact that I have them available, and also others have been purchased through recommendation on various social media channels from other sim racers and what they use. We will be measuring these gloves against 7 different measures. They are comfort, control, cost, protection, feedback, temperature, and appearance. So appearance may not be important to everyone, but it's important to some people, hence why I've included that. Comfort is about, how comfortable they feel. Do they fit well? Are they going to be something that you can have in your hands for a long period of time? Control, do you still get the ability to press all your buttons? Are they stopping you from being able to manage your race properly? Protection, when you get hit from behind or you have an accident on the racetrack, are these things going to absorb any of it? The rigors of force feedback might mean that you kind of start tiring, so we want to make sure that we can protect ourselves from that as much as possible. Feedback. So here, do we still receive all of the force feedback that we expect to receive from our wheel? So some wheels also vibrate, like the Fanatec Formula V2. The wheel vibrates and it can be used, for example, to give you an indication of when to change up a gear. Temperature. How long can you be wearing this before your little mitts start to sweat and smell of cheese? Cost. Now we're talking about how bloody expensive some of these can be. And then, as we said before, appearance. Do they look pretty? So we'll be going through these gloves in order of their score, starting with the worst. At the absolute bottom of the pile, we have the Endura Strike 2s, the most expensive offering in this roundup, with clearly too much padding to be comfortable around a smaller wheel like the Formula V2, and they limit a lot of the vibration feedback that you get from a wheel. It's not to say that these are terrible gloves. They are great in winter, keeping you warm on a bike in the great outdoors. But as sim racing gloves go, they are pretty atrocious. In 8th place, we have the GripGrab ProGels. Now the gel insert with these gloves actually means that you get very little feedback from the wheel. So they came up worst for that. They don't look very good and they're again very expensive. Their one silver lining is that they do offer full control because of the fingerless nature of the gloves. In 7th place, we have the Gore Windstoppers. They are comfortable, they offer good protection, but are more pricey than most of the other gloves in this roundup. They don't really look the part. They're not a familiar brand with sim racers or in motorsport in general. Temperature control is quite bad. These gloves are designed to keep you warm, and they do mute the feedback from the wheel. So all of the gloves mentioned before this point, I would say, are probably inferior to just using your hands. Of course, then you run the risk of stinking up your wheel, depending on the surface used on your wheel. With the following 5 gloves, it's pretty close. There is one standout, but any of these gloves you could probably get away with using and enjoy the experience. So in joint 4th place, we have the Feel SR2s and the Alpinestars Dune gloves. The Feel are more comfortable than the Alpinestars. They offer more control and they offer slightly better feedback. They're about the same for their temperature regulation. The Alpinestars look better, especially after you've washed them. I mean, the feels have already started to bubble and I haven't had them that long at all. They're also slightly more expensive than the Dunes. The Dunes coming in at £22.99 and the feels coming in at £25. At a push, I'd say the Feel SR2s just edge this, but that's only because they are slightly more comfortable, offer more control and give you slightly more feedback. Protection isn't really something that I value that highly. Next up we have the silver medal position gloves, the OMP KS4s and the Sparco Meca 3s. The OMPs offer slightly more comfort and protection, but the Sparcos offer more control and they're marginally cheaper. Both are recognisable brands and look the part when they're on the wheel. The OMP gloves have the added benefit of also being suitable for wearing during real world racing. And the winner is the Alpinestars F-Lite gloves. They offer the best level of comfort and control. They are the least expensive gloves in this roundup, along with the Dunes. They look reasonable, and their very light nature means that they're actually pretty comfortable in terms of temperature control. If anything, they're slightly muting the feedback, but I mean, all gloves do to some degree. The F-Lite will be going into my glove rotation along with the Sparco Meca 3s. The OMPs will be my backup and the other gloves will just be sitting in a drawer until I've worn through those. One point of note about these gloves is that the F-Lites are pretty hard to come by now. I ended up having to buy these from a store on eBay. But where possible, I'm going to put in some links in the description so you can go and buy these gloves yourself. I have no affiliate links at this point, so if you can find them cheaper elsewhere, please do. If you like this mini roundup, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you have any other glove suggestions, then please leave them in the comments for this video so we can have a look at reviewing them later on. Goodbye for now.